Here's the truth. Owning an apartment in Dubai won't make you wealthy. It'll make you a landlord. But if you want to sit at the table where serious wealth is created, where projects are built, skylines are shaped, and returns are multiplied, you need to understand development. This video is for those who are ready to play that game. Here is why investors are doubling down on Dubai. In 2024, the market hit an all-time high. That is 761 billion dirhams in real estate value. That is 20% up from the previous year. Now, in 2025 alone, in just the first half, sales already reached 431 billion. Now that is another increase of 25% year on year. More importantly, there's around 95,000 investors that entered the market in 2025. Now, 60% of those were investing for their first time. Now, that type of growth is not speculative. It is real and it is happening now. The engine behind it, you may wonder, it is the population growth. Dubai has just crossed 4 million residents, and planners estimate it to almost double by 2040 at 5.8 million residents. That means consistent structural demand for housing, infrastructure, and commercial space. And yes, the supply is scaling too, at 73,000 new homes expected this year and 300,000 by 2028. So you've got demand, supply, infrastructure, and investor confidence all telling the same story. Dubai is not just booming, it is an honest. In Dubai, there are three main ways to invest in the market. Each level comes with its own risk, return, and commitment. And depending on where you are in the journey, one might be more suitable than others. Let me break them down for you. So you've got the first method, the buy and hold. This is the foundation. So that would usually mean purchasing a ready property, usually a villa or an apartment, and collecting the income, the rental income. Now the reason it works is Dubai is consistently providing you with around 6 to 8% rental ROI. That is a lot higher than global cities like London and New York. And that is why thousands of global investors start here. So the pros, obviously, is you've got stable income, you've got less risk, and it's globally attractive yield. Now the con is that you have a limited upside compared to other strategies. Now, the way most people get into this investment is by looking at prime zones with high rental demand, such as JVC, Business Bay, Downtown, Marina, and so on. You can also work with a developer or an agency to secure early units and to handle management for you. Now, this is the most common starting point. If you're looking for safe exposure in Dubai real estate, buy and hold is your foundation. Now, the second method is flipping, and that is growth play. So what it is you're buying an off-plan property that needs a few years to completion, and you resell it before it's completed. And with off-plan dominating more than 60% of sales in 2024 and 2025, early buyers are consistently capturing short-term gains. Now the pros are you have a faster capital appreciation and a lower initial investment. However, you're relying heavily on timing and developer reputation. Now the way to get into this is to get into early reputable launches such as by Amar, Shoba, Nakhil, Damak, or you can prioritize areas with infrastructure growth such as metro expansions and new communities. This is for investors who want to ride the momentum. Done smartly, flipping can compound returns quickly, but it requires guidance and careful selection. And the third method, development. This is what we call the wealth builder. So you're either acquiring land or you're partnering with a landlord, and then you're designing and building a property to then sell. Instead of clipping yields, you capture full development margins. Often, that looks like 20 to 35% internal rate of return if executed well. This is where fortunes are built. You have the highest upside, you have control over the product, and you have legacy wealth. Now, the only issue here is this demands expertise and larger capital commitment. Now, you have three ways of investing in this. You can buy land and hire a development team, or you can do a joint venture with either a landowner or a developer that executes the entire cycle of the project. This is development is not for everyone, but But if you have the vision, you have the capital, this is how real wealth is created in Dubai real estate. So here's the ladder. You have your buy, this is your foundation. You've got that is the accelerator, and finally you have development. This is where you build legacy type of wealth. So wherever you are on this ladder, the key is moving smartly with the right partners. And that's exactly what this channel is for. Now let's talk about where the real wealth is created. And this is development partnerships. This is where you stop playing the market and you start shaping the market. And there are three main ways of how these partnerships work in Dubai. So first, you have the landowner and the developer joint venture. This is very common. A landowner brings the plot and the developer comes in with the full execution. That would include design, approvals, construction, and sales. The profits are shared, often 50-50, but it depends on the type of deal that you structure. Now, this is a way for landowners to unlock the real asset value without getting into the complexities of development themselves. So the second option is being a capital investor. Now here, the investor provides the capital for the land and the construction, while the developer manages the project cycle end to end. It is a model that is becoming more attractive as investors are able to get into development without needing any operational involvement. The developer handles sourcing, approvals, building, and sales, while the investor focuses on returns. And finally, you have the third option, and that is a hybrid. Some investors prefer to buy and hold the land themselves, then bring in a developer to execute for them. In that case, the developer provides a feasibility analysis, secures permits, oversees construction. Now, whichever structure you're in, here's the truth. Projects not because of the capital, but because of the execution. Development in Dubai means navigating approvals, coordinating contractors, controlling costs, and delivering a product that the market actually wants. Now, let's go with an example. So you've got a mid-rise G+5 in JVC, and the land is 22,000 square foot with a price of around 26 million dirhams. Now, usually these plots have a floor to area ratio of 3. That means the area of the plot, you're allowed to build 3 times of that. So that's about 66,000 square feet in gross floor area, and that would give you somewhere in the ballpark of 90,000 build-up area. The way we calculate that is you're adding around 20% to the gross floor area, and you're also including the common spaces. Now, if any of you are interested in a future video breaking down exactly what the FAR is, build-up area, gross floor area, and so on, please leave a comment down below. So now let's look at the costs of what building such project would look like. Now for a mid-rise, you're looking somewhere between 300 to 320 dirhams per square foot of build-up area. So you're looking at a total of around 27 to 28.8 million. Now, all in, including the land and build fees, you're looking at around 58 to 60 million dirham. Now, when it comes to sales, apartments in JVC are selling at around 1,300 to 1,500 dirhams per square foot. So that gives you a total of around 86 to 99 million dirhams in revenue. So even after you account for brokerage fees, TLD fees, and contingencies, you're looking at a profit rate of around 25 to 40%. And that's just looking at a mid-rise in GBC. It's not even prime zones or luxury developments where numbers can climb even higher. Now let's look at another brief example for a villa project. We'll take a plot in Furjan that's 6,500 square meters. A plot like this is going to cost you around 5 million dirhams. So a good quality villa in that size is going to cost you around 2 to 2.2 million dirhams to build. Now, a villa like this is going to sell for around 9.5 million to 10 million dirhams. After we factor in the cost of the land, the build, and the fees, you're looking at a profit margin of around 30 to 45%. So, whether it's a single villa or a multi-unit building, the principle is the same. Execute means profit. So here's the contrast. That same 5 million dirhams that you could put into a plot and develop with someone, if you put it into a few apartments instead, it's going to give you around 6% yield, which looks like 300,000 dirhams per year. That's good, but compare it with 1.5 to 2 million dirhams profit on a single development. Development multiplies your money. So capital is everywhere, land is available, but execution is where wealth is built. And that's the exact gap I'm building my company to fill. For investors and landowners who want to develop in Dubai the smart way. These are just two examples that I've given. Imagine what it would look like to scale it further across multiple plots, projects, or joint ventures. That's how real wealth is built in Dubai's real estate market. If you remember just one thing from this video, make it this 5 steps every serious investor in Dubai should run through these before putting a dirham into a project. Step number 1, check the zoning and the floor to area ratio of the plot. Don't ever buy land in Dubai without legally knowing what's allowed on it. In Dubai, zoning and FER are issued by the Dubai municipality, and they are confirmed in the plot affection plan. For example, if you're looking at a plot with 10,000 square feet at an FAR of 2.5, the gross floor area that you're allowed to build will be a maximum of 25,000 square feet. RERA calculator and the Dubai Land Department's official records will confirm this. Other things to look out for when looking at the zoning of a plot is number of floors that are allowed, whether you're allowed to do retail, commercial, and residential, or you're only allowed 1 or 2 of them, whether it is a villa plot, a townhouse plot, or a building plot. You also have the setbacks and floor coverage ratio to look at. Now, I will go into more details on what each of those mean, and you can find that in the PDF in the description below. It's this step, and you might think you're buying land for a building, and it turns out the plot is only allowed for villas. That mistake can cost millions. Step number 2, run a feasibility study. To buy, feasibility is non-negotiable. You need to factor in every cost. Land cost. You can check recent DLD transactions for the same area, what plots are actually selling for. Do not just go for what the broker quotes you. The construction cost, you can use RERA's construction cost index, or you can get quotes from 2 to 3 contractors. You also have the authority fees that you need to layer in. You have the 4% DLD registration fee, you have the Aqood fee if you're doing an off-plan development, you have Talafisi to be able to do marketing for a project, and you have municipality approvals, such as the firefighting, the civil, architectural, and so on. And finally, sales projections. You can benchmark against actual transactions on the Dubai Rest app instead of looking at brochure prices or online listings, as these are not always accurate. So the formula for calculating your profit percentage would be to subtract the total costs from the revenue, and you divide that number by the total costs. And finally, you multiply that by 100 to give you a percentage. If the ROI does not pencil out on paper, it will not magically appear later. Step number 3, understand approval timelines. In Dubai, approvals can take 3 to 6 months, and in some cases where you may face some issues, it can add a whole year to 2 years before you're able to start construction. For example, a G+4 JVC might require concept and detailed design approvals from the Dubai municipality, along with structural drawing approvals, civil defense approvals, and so on. And you have the RERA project registration, and you have environmental and infrastructure NOCs. And finally, you have the DLD escrow account that you would need to set up to be able to do off-plan sales. Every month of delay, you're looking at financing costs, holding costs, and missed market windows. Investors who don't factor this in bleed returns. Step number 4, factor in financing costs. Dubai is still a bank-driven market. If you're leveraging debt, you'll likely be paying the EIBOR rate plus the bank margins of around 2 to 3%. On a 50 million dirham construction loan, just a swing of 2% in interest rates can add 1 million dirham per year to the project cost. Don't just assume financing, model it. Cheap money is fuel. Expensive money can burn the project. And finally, step number 5 is to choose the right partner. This is where most deals are won or lost. A bad contractor or developer can blow timelines, budget, or investor trust. In Dubai, you want a partner who has experience with Dubai municipality, RERA, And DLD processes, someone who has relationships with contractors and can negotiate good rates or does contracting in-house. Someone who can effectively manage design, build, and sales, not just one piece of the puzzle. And finally, someone who's on your side, someone who benefits when you benefit, as in Dubai's market, unfortunately, it is considered standard industry practice for some service providers to charge you a percent on the total cost of the project, meaning they profit more when you have to pay more for the project. The right partner doubles your returns. The wrong one can turn a good piece of land into a liability. Every deal I look at runs through this checklist. If it fails one step, I walk away. That's exactly why the projects we choose to move forward with succeed. And I've put this checklist in a PDF that you can download for free. The link is in the description below. Save it, print it, keep it on your desk, and make sure to use it every time before you proceed with the project. Now you understand how serious investors approach Dubai real estate. Not just by buying an apartment, but by creating value through development. If you're a landowner, an investor, or even someone who's considering your first development, this is the channel for you. I break down everything: the numbers, the approvals, the on-site realities, and all the things that most people would keep secret. If you're a landowner or a serious investor looking at Dubai, this is how we can work together. First, download the investor's checklist. It's in the description below and use it for your next deal. Second, you can join my investors list for private feasibility templates, live deal breakdowns, and off-market opportunities. And finally, if you have land or deployable capital and you want to develop smart, there's a joint venture form in the description below. Tell me about your plot, your budget, and timelines, and I'll review it personally. And if you are in buy and hold and want high-yield units sourced and managed, stay here. I share what's working in real time and replace clients into the best projects. Subscribe and turn on notifications. We build wealth here by actually building.